Your coffee is sour, and it's going to stay sour no matter how carefully you brew it. Because the problem isn't your gear or your method. It's your beans. I'm a second-generation coffee roaster, and this is the part that no one really explains. So let me show you what's actually happening and how to avoid sour, underdeveloped coffee for good. So you did what most people do. You started adjusting. Finer grind, hotter water, longer bloom. And maybe you even bought more expensive grinder. And none of it fixed that sour, empty coffee. If that's you, hear this clearly. It might not be your technique or your gear. It might just be the beans themselves. But if you think your technique might be the issue, or you just want to brush it up, I teach an in-depth course on Japanese pour-over. You'll find the link in the description. Here's the truth. Not all light roast coffee is created equal. A good light roast is vibrant, fruity, never unbalanced. A bad one? Sharp, grassy, and often just plain sour. And the reason is usually this. The beans weren't fully developed during roasting. They might look a beautiful light roast from outside, but inside they are still undercooked. Roasting is about timing, control, and thermal momentum. If the heat isn't applied correctly, there is a chance it doesn't reach the center of the bean. So the surface color looks beautiful, but inside, it's still grassy, acidic, and unfinished. It's kind of like putting a big chunk of meat into the oven. If the heat isn't managed right, outside scorches, but inside stays red. With meat, sometimes rare is delicious, but with coffee, it just tastes green. The result? A cup smells promising, but tastes off. Sharp, sour, and just wrong. Here's the part no one actually says out loud. Some roasters stick to super light or they don't go darker than medium because they believe it signals quality. But quality and potential aren't the same thing. I think it's our job as roasters not just to showcase a bean's characteristics, but to find its sweet spot. And sometimes that sweet spot isn't light. Of course, not all light roast is underdeveloped. A well-executed light roast can be fantastic. I roast light too, if that's what the bean calls for. But development can be unpredictable. And sometimes staying lighter just feels safer. Want to dive deeper into roast level and flavor? I explain more about that in this other video. I'll link the link in the description. So, what can you do? Especially if you're not roasting your own beans. First, trust your palate. I get this kind of comment all the time. I don't know if it's just me. I think coffee tastes sour. I guess I just prefer cheaper coffee. Maybe I don't have a refined palate. And I always tell them, you're not wrong. I don't like sour coffee either. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean all light roasts are bad. But if a coffee tastes sour, sharp, grassy, or just off, even after different brews, it might not be your fault. But it might just be underdeveloped beans. It's hard to judge roast quality from the outside, but there are a few signs. Smell the dry grounds. If it smells grassy or sour before you even brew, be cautious. If the flavor doesn't improve across brewing methods, that's a red flag. The next two are probably more for the trained eyes, but bite into a bean and check the cross section. If the inside has uneven layers of color, it might not have been fully developed. Look at the shape. Underdeveloped beans can appear wrinkled or uneven. Properly developed beans look more stretched, full, and even in color. If you don't like sour coffee, I'd suggest starting with medium dark or even dark roast. They're less likely to have that sharp acidity. But if you already have a trusted roaster, any roast level can be great. Even light roast, as long as it's well developed. The key is to find what you actually enjoy and start building your taste memory from there. I also have a video on choosing beans to match your brewing method. The link is below. So if your coffee's been tasting sour and off, you're not alone. And no, probably it's not your brewing skills. Sometimes the beans just weren't roasted properly. And once you start noticing it, you can't untaste it. If you want to understand how roast level affects flavor and which roast might actually suit your brewing method, I talk about those things in these videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful coffee day.